Hello, my name is Aukse and I am Business Processes and Automation Consultant. For the last 7 years, I have been witnessing so many goal setting sessions in the companies, and a lot of them use smart goal setting framework, and they fall into trend every time. So today, I just want to address this huge pain point that nobody seems to be talking about. Smart goals is a trap, but you can fix them. If you want to know how, make sure to watch this video till the end. All right, let's talk about SMART goals, my friends. You may have heard this term thrown around in the professional world and maybe even on LinkedIn, but what exactly do these goals entail? Well, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant, and also time-bound. In simpler terms, a SMART goal is clear, concise objective that is defined by specific metrics and has a realistic timeline for completion. This approach is supposed to help you to stay focused, motivated, as well as allow you to track your progress and make adjustments as needed. After all, success isn't just about working hard, isn't it? It's about working smart too. So let's get smart and start smashing these goals, or shall I say, smash the myth of smart goals. I have 5 primary reasons why I think SMART goals is a waste of time in any context. The first one is not discussed at all, and I'm not sure why. It's simply isolation. We have more than one goal in private life, in business, even in departments. We never have just one specific goal. Therefore, when we try to set goal which is in isolation, how can we make decisions when we don't see how other timelines overlap? While SMART goals might be effective in helping just to focus on thinking on that goal, but they may also lead to lack of collaboration and teamwork because you are not aware of other goals in this isolation. So in order to truly thrive in this fast-paced world, we need to balance these goals and plan groups of goals so that we could see the timelines. Second thing is isolation makes them unrealistic, therefore attainable part becomes very vague for me. This can happen if a goal is set that is too ambitious. And there's nothing wrong with ambition, don't get me wrong. But let's say if you have zero income today and you set a goal, I want $1 million next year. These are very unrealistic goals because the attainable part, there's no way to measure that in this framework. And reason is because of the third item I want to discuss is that this framework does not take resources that you have into account. SMART goals fail to take a crucial factor into account: the resources available to you, your team, or your company at that timeline that you set. It's like trying to bake a cake without checking if you have all your ingredients first. And that's where we can all learn from one thing. I preach about practicality and resourcefulness. And let's be real, these are the things that we just cannot ignore when setting goals. Setting goals is not some dream session. It's a serious matter. It needs to be done. You need to set objectives and goals for your company, but first you need to assess resources at hand before you jump into setting goals. It might sound like a common sense, but sometimes common sense is not so common. The fourth thing is they rarely take into account team's perspective. So I noticed too many times when discussing sales pipelines and business processes in operations, the SMART goals are always set in the isolation and left just for executives. This means that you may feel like you have to do what the goal says in order to achieve it. And this can lead to feeling overwhelmed and stressed because you don't know how decision was made about that goal. And the one, I really struggle with SMART goals when they're set for companies that do not have any workflows. So SMART goals never contribute to creating your primary asset in this economy, which is the processes. If you have processes in place for that specific goal, those processes will later contribute to achieve other goals or to scale that goal. So there's no scalability because there's no discussion about what processes and workflows we should establish. So I think that SMART goals become really huge time wasters. So if you decide to stick with SMART goals and believe in that attainable path, then you have only one option. It's brainstorm with your team. I don't expect it to be a very popular solution, as goal setting can be a very sensitive business and not many executives want all team to be included. But trust me, it can save your SMART goal. It can completely transform it and make it happen. It not only fosters a sense of accountability, but it creates shared ownership. I talk about ownership a lot on LinkedIn, so make sure to follow me. I am completely invested in that concept. There's nothing stronger than ownership, and we are in crisis of ownership, to be honest. So any activity or brainstorming session that nourishes ownership, make sure to do that in your company. It ensures that everyone is on the same page when it comes to identifying potential pitfalls that need to be addressed. So your frontline team has a unique perspective on day-to-day realities of your shared goals. They have unique perspective, unique grudges, absorb all of it. Make sure that they know that it's a really safe place to address any kind of objections that may have or feeling of risk. It's easy to raise a goal. It's really hard to make sure that all those feelings that you have in your gut are addressed, communicated, and solved. By taking the time to brainstorm together, you will not only feel better prepared for unknowns, but you also strengthen the bonds of trust. Here, what I have is this map how you can complete that brainstorming session. So what you can do is include all the teams that would be working on that goal. Each team would have a separate objective related to that goal, and make sure that all the team is working on both risks and unknowns and the next steps that they can figure out starting tomorrow. Include the questions and raise questions about processes and workflows, time to create processes, and resources to create those processes the teams need. Then you can really evaluate your SMART goal. Your team is your main key to making sure that this SMART goal is really smart. Once you have a general overview of what is happening, I suggest taking the second critical step is working with your team together to make sure that you have swim lane diagram for the processes that they are responsible. So usually SMART goals are so specific that there's only one process included. Swim lane diagrams can be a really powerful tool to help you transform your vision about SMART goals. What you will be seeing in swim lane diagram is on this side, you see the functions of your business that you can also call department or team, and how they are responsible for the specific steps and how they relate to each other. So what this diagram does, it divides different responsibilities and tasks into different lanes. This allows you to visualize interdependencies, and when applied to SMART goal setting, they help you break down complex goals into manageable tasks. So SMART goal can still be quite complex, but now you start seeing manageable tasks, and then you can plan resources for those tasks. This can be especially helpful for teams who need to work collaboratively. So in this example, we see 4 teams working on that process. And when you are outlining required tasks, you can eliminate confusion and ensure that everyone remains on track. Once it's mapped in this swim lane diagram, you can share again with your team and they can start writing questions about the specific tasks they need to complete. And then you can get their feedback on roles, resources, and right KPIs. So for example, when we are looking at this swim lane diagram, we see that we might need to check the credit card. And you might realize, okay, how do we do that? Do we have the right software to do that? Or check stock. Is it going to be done manually? Or are we planning to implement inventory management system, which is automated and based on triggers? What about canceling the order? How is it going to be done? Is it going to be done automatically or is it going to be manual task? If so, who is going to be responsible in sales team to cancel the order? So you see, it's both the tools, resources availability, automations, and roles questions that arise when we're looking at swim lane diagram. So let's say if we don't have both people and tools and resources to implement them, it means that timely could be pushed for us to implement those tools and resources. So with the SMART goal becomes then really smart. So this is critical. Team and your processes make SMART goals really smart.